Hello again, everyone. We are live here in beautiful Wheeling, Illinois, Heritage Park for our championship game of the 2021 SSA Gold Rush Gaming Men's National Championship Series. The championship game featuring the undefeated 45s, sponsored by Tito's, and of course, Flashback, who has made a very impressive run here in the losers bracket this afternoon. This will be their sixth game today. After winning their first game yesterday against Moneyline, Flash lost to Dynasty late last night, and then they've rattled off again 5 wins in a row today, beating the Shooters, Circus, Rack City, High Y, and then getting revenge on Dynasty to get to this point. And the 45s, who are undefeated, took care of YTD, Hall of Fame Concessions yesterday, Rack City today, and then Dynasty in the championship at the winners bracket. It was an 18-13 win for 45. There's Dan Dispenza leading off the game with a base hit into right center. Dispenza very fast in there with a stand-up double. So Danny Dispenza picking up where he's left off the last couple of games. He's been absolutely on fire and sets up Flashback in a terrific spot here with John Zawaski at the plate. So again, Flashback has to beat Tito's 45s twice to win the championship, as they have one loss. Again, their sixth game this afternoon, and their only saving grace is it's been a beautiful day. Weather about 80 degrees, a little light breeze, not much humidity. So that's definitely helped in Flashback's favor playing these many games. There's a ground ball to second. Danny Villarreal throws to first to get Zawaski as Dispenza moves up to third. I want to thank George Bliss, who is right next to me with your camera action. Hello, George. How are you, sir?
Great. Another beautiful weather this year. I love Wheeling. It's a great park. And I would be surprised if we don't come back here sometime very soon.
Definitely have done a great job with the 2 national championship games that are championship series games that we've had here, 2018 and again this year. Here's Scotty Herdecki with a man on third and 1 out. Top of the first game of the championship. And there's a ground ball to short center. Oh, and it's mishandled by Adam Haas. Herdecki will move into second as Dispenza scores the game's first run. So Jack Landwehr, it wasn't a great throw, but usually a throw that Adam Haas handles over there at first. It was low to his glove hand, and it skipped away and allowed Herdecki to get to second base. Glad you're joining us here live. Matt Dosen, along with George Bliss, and the rest of the SSA broadcast team. Ground ball to second, long throw to first, and Pat Dillon beats the throw. Pat Dillon's had a fantastic afternoon. Doubles, triples, homers. Has really done a great job for Flashback in the slugging department. Here's Justin Simkowski with runners at first and third. 1 out, 1 run in. Again, we're early here, top of the first. Flashback and the 45s, and of course, both these teams no stranger to this juncture in a big tournament, George.
I just wonder how many times Joe Manza has been at home plate. Quite a few. Great umpire, along with Oscar up at the bases.
Of course, they usually have Joe and Oscar in the championship games of all the big tournaments. Veteran umpires. Here's Simkowski with a base hit up the middle. That'll score the game's second run. Dillon all the way to third. So Flashback continues to smoke the softball, jump out to a 2-0 lead here. And again, Tito's 45s were in the same position, George, in Forest Park for the No Glove Nationals. And all of a sudden, their bats went silent and lost 2 games to Circus.
I mean, I call it a mild upset, but Circus had another good tournament this week as well. But Circus has put themselves high on the list now, one of the better teams in the Chicago area.
So you have to wonder if that's even in the minds of the Tito's 45s players and, of course, their coach, Israel Sanchez. Here's Ryan Rusk, who made a terrific play in their last game against Dynasty. Ground ball is short. It's going to be a tough play for Mercado, and there is no play. So as soon as that ball took a second and third hop, there was almost no chance at all to get the speedy Ryan Rusk. So Flashback with their third run of the top of the first. And now Anthony Misek also known as Noach. So you'll be hearing me call a few of the players by their nicknames. We'll try to give you their given names the first time around, and then, of course, I may revert to their nicknames, which most softball players know these guys. John Robinson on the mound for the Tito's 45s. Keith Anderson is the catcher. Meisick with a long fly ball to right. Billy Smith is there. He's under it. Both runners will tag. Simkowski makes it to third. He's going to try to score. Landmeyer throws home, and Simkowski is out at home. So a terrific relay throw there. And Anderson applied the tag, but Flashback with a very solid first inning puts up 3. And Tito's 45s will come up in the first inning trailing, as you see Israel Sanchez, longtime head coach of the Tito's 45s. And before he really became the leader of this team, he was a Hall of Fame player for the same 45 squad under the leadership of legendary Bob Rasha, winning many, many championships in the 2000s for the great 45s franchise. And then, of course, on the other end, you see there Jeff Hernandez, better known as Jibbs to the softball community. Jibbs, no stranger to many, many national championships himself, has taken over the reins of this Flashback team in, I would say about the mid-2010s, and continues to do a terrific job on the mound. Jeff well into his mid-50s. And there you see today's present and future Anthony Sanchez, who has just taken his game to a new level this year. Just has become a fantastic player all the way around, hitting the ball just with extreme confidence. Hits the ball to left center, hits the ball to right center, fast as anybody in this game. And, of course, he's got the genes to go with it. He's got that championship gene already installed with him. And he will lead things off here for Tito's 45s. So the defense for Flashback, Ryan Rusk, Justin Simkowski, Daniel Dispenza, left to right. Scotty Herdecki, Ralph Lawrence, third short. Mike Meyer at short center. Pat Dillon at second as we have a foul ball there. John Zawaski at first. Anthony Meisick, the catcher. Jeff Hernandez is the pitcher. And for the 45s, they're going to go with Anthony Sanchez, Nate Mercado, Billy Smith, John Robinson, Jack Landwehr, Mark Holstein, Chris Lentine, Keith Anderson, Denny Villarreal, Jeff Thielson, and Adam Haas.
Come on, Ed. Let's go.
Again, we're live here at Heritage Park in Wheeling, Illinois. Championship game here between Tito's 45s and Flashback. Tito's 45s is undefeated, having rolled through the winner's bracket. Flashback playing their 6th game today. Beautiful evening, George. Sun lowering here as we get deeper into the afternoon. Beautiful, beautiful temperatures in the low 70s, no humidity. Decent crowd on hand here. Sanchez again tries to go down the left field line, another foul ball. One thing that you'll see with Flash, George, is they'll put a player down the left field line and a player down the right field line to make sure that their right fielder and left fielder don't shag foul balls all day long. Pretty interesting. Trying to keep their corner outfielders fresh, especially now when they're within their 6th game of the afternoon. And Sanchez with a fly ball that will be caught by Ryan Russen left. And here's Nate Mercado, the de facto leader of this Tito's 45 team. Leader with his play, leader with his voice. Nate's been a top shortstop for a long, long time, for over a decade, and probably the best shortstop in the game for the last 5 or 6 years. One out here at bottom of the first as Nate hits a line drive caught by Herdecki for the second out. And that'll bring up Billy Smith, who definitely has had one of the best hitting years in all softball this year. He's just been a double machine, left center, right center. Billy's been a top player for a long, long time. Played many years for OBI. Came over the 45s, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and has not slowed down one bit. 2 outs, nobody on. 3-0 Flashback. Bottom of the first. Matt Dosen along with George Bliss.
Oh, Bill! Base hit it, Bill!
Listening in Florida to you, buddy.
Billy Smith ground ball to third. Herdecki up with it. Long throw to first in time for the out. So 1, 2, 3 for the 45s in the bottom of the first. 3-0 Flashback. Game 1 of the championship here. It's been a terrific weekend of softball out here in Wheeling. A lot of games going into extra innings. A lot of games having great comebacks. I believe Dynasty came back twice in the bottom half of their last at bat to win ball games to get to the championship of the winners bracket. And a lot of extra inning, a lot of exciting games, great comebacks, big comebacks. We saw multiple games where teams had 4, 5, 6-run leads. In fact, I think there was an 8-run lead early in the tournament. Old Timers was up 8-0 to Impact, and Impact came back and scored 9 unanswered and won 9-8. So a lot of uncommon things happening with the glove in this tournament, but of course it's been an uncommon year. I believe we have yet to have a repeat champion in any of the big tournaments. Westchester was won by Signature in dramatic fashion. The North-South tournament, run by Danny Adkins, was won by the 45s. Of course, you had the Chicagoland Championships getting rained out, unfortunately, but then Forest Park was won by Circus. And so now 45s looking to become that first team to win 2 tournaments in one season. Here's Ralph Lawrence, longtime terrific player for Flashback. Ralph just doesn't seem to slow down. Clutch hitter. There he pops one up. Long run for Lentine, and he won't get there. And the ball drops, and Lawrence is going to have a double, a bloop double. George, one thing about this field is that it's a baseball field, so the infield is cut out very, very deep. Sometimes very hard for the outfielders to judge just how deep they are. You've seen a lot of bloop hits fall in this week on this field, but the wind is blowing out, so the outfield does have to play a little deeper because the ball is carrying pretty well today. Here's Mike Meyer. Mike Meyer, really the utility knife, the Swiss utility knife for this team. He really can play any position and has really helped Flashback throughout the years with his versatility. I think he's played just about every position on the field. I think I've even seen him pitch too. There's a line drive over the head of Villarreal. And Lawrence will be held at third. So Flashback with something cooking again here in the top of the second, already up 3-0. So that's going to bring up Jeff Hernandez. We'll see if they let Gibbs hit here or if they go to the bench, which they sometimes do. Jeff's had a pretty good weekend with the bat. I know he had, I believe, a couple of hits against us. And I say us, I mean Moneyline, the team that they beat in their first game. And I've seen him get a few hits today. So Jeff, not an automatic out by any means. Crafty hitter. The one issue that Jeff always has is the outfield plays pretty shallow against him because he does not have a lot of power. But he has learned to kind of punch and throw some balls out there here in his later stages of his career. So runners at first and third, nobody out, 3-0 in favor of Flashback, top half of the first. Of course, Tito's 45s does have Steve Batnich in the dugout, who has won many national championship games. And there's another base hit for Hernandez. So he has really helped himself out this weekend with the bat. 4-0 Flashback, still nobody out, first and second. And might not be much longer before Israel Sanchez has to go to veteran Steve Batnich here to slow things down. Here's Dispenza, who led things off in the top of the first with a stand-up double. Danny has really taken this Flash team by storm over the past couple years. Really had just a monster year in 2019. I believe that was his first year with Flashback. Came and just was an absolute extra base machine. Really was the MVP of the team that year, probably the best player in softball, and he just continues to hit the ball with authority. So now 1 out. That was a bit of a mistake, however. Probably should have pulled the ball there to at least move the runners. There's a fly ball in the center, and that'll be caught by Chris Lentine. So now the Flashback team with 2 outs. And let's see if Scotty Herdecki could pick up his teammates. Again, we talk about the game with the glove. A little bit different game. You want to move runners when you get them in scoring position with no outs. And I'm sure Danny Dispenza was feeling it there. He's been so hot that he just felt like he can get a hit. And unfortunately, he had a line drive right up the middle that was caught. So here's Scotty Herdecki, again, a veteran of many of these big games. Pops one up, and that'll be it. 1 run only for Flashback. So we'll have to wait and see if that comes back to haunt them as they now lead 4-0 heading into the bottom of the second. So, George, what are some of your overall impressions of this weekend?
Well, I wanted to ask you about your coach. Do you like playing on the turf, especially the outfield, the ball bounces over your shoulder? I've seen it happen twice.
No.
Do you like grass over turf?
I can't stand the turf, George, but I understand why we have a tournament on turf because obviously we worry about the weather in the Midwest. But no, I am a true blue. Play on the dirt, get dirty, slide, kick up the dust, dust yourself off, and let's play ball. I definitely do not like the turf. As we see John Robinson, Israel Sanchez having a little discussion here. That's one thing you will never see this Tito's 45 teams panic. I don't care how many runs they fall behind. They have the firepower to tie up a ball game and score 5 or score 4 in a heartbeat. So plenty of bats to get back in the ball game as we head in here to the bottom of the second. John Robinson will lead things off, also known as J-Rob to the softball community. J-Rob's had a fine year. Really got off to a really unbelievably hot start and has seen more time on the mound now the last couple of weeks, and especially in these bigger tournaments. As J-Rob tries to go down the left field line, that'll be foul. So John, longtime player for the Roadrunners. In fact, there are a lot of players that played late into the day here that used to play with the Roadrunner team, fine team. Nate Mercado, in fact, of course, was their shortstop. You had John Robinson here. You had Eric Niedzela, who played for Dynasty, who came in 3rd place. Congratulations to Chicago Dynasty. Joey Gallardo, Mike Alongi, and head coach Mike Hickey Sr. Another terrific run by the Dynasty club. And, of course, Highway with a great 4th place finish. Highway had to come from behind a few times to get to that spot. There's a line drive up the middle, snagged by Gibbs for the first out. Nice play there by Jeff. And here's Jack Landwehr. Now, here's an interesting story with Jack Landwehr. He came to the 45s this year, was 12-inch player, played a lot in the parks, but never played at this level, and has just done a fantastic job for the 45s this year. It has really become a tough out, terrific short center. He's got a great arm. And another ground ball up the middle, snagged by Gibbs for the second out. I always love those stories, George, about players that toil in their park leagues and play with their buddies, and all of a sudden they get spotted and they get asked to come out to a big team, and then they thrive, and then they're on the scene and they play for another 10 years with the best.
Well, your brother was a great player, Marty Doza. He was asked from neighborhood teams to go to the big teams, right? He did it because he was good enough.
Here's Mark Holstein, speaking of future Hall of Famers. And again, he went up the middle, and this time off the foot of Hernandez. So 45's game plan of trying to go at Gibbs here. Twice unsuccessfully, once successfully. That would have been a hat trick there if he was able to snag that line drive. Here's Chris Lentine with 2 outs, a man on first. 4-0 Flashback, bottom of the second. Chris Lentine had a great game in the Winners Bracket Championship. A couple extra base hits, including a home run. Of course, Chris came over his first year with the 45s this year, coming over from Impact, where his father, Tom Lentine Sr., and his brother, Tom Lentine Jr., still play with the impact squad as Lentine flies out to left to end the inning. So 4-0 Flashback as we head to the top of the third. Want to thank some of our sponsors who, of course, make this happen. Of course, the live stream is brought to you by Napleton, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Lansing. Go visit Ray Zarnick, Dave Bradford, Scotty Zarnick, and all the gang over there. Carlos Castleberry. Let us entertain you. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Of course, Gold Rush Gaming. Gold Rush Gaming, our great sponsor for this tournament. Terrific people. They have really taken care of the SSA. We hope that we are worthy of their sponsorship. And if you're out and you own an establishment, you're looking for some games, some slots to put into your establishment, please contact Gold Rush Gaming. You can contact Kelly Sorrentino at 630-307-0500 to get started. Of course, Iron Horse Security, that's PD Rains. Hello, everybody. The Beacon Tap, Signature Transportation Group, Guaranteed Rate Affinity. And we'll get to the rest of our sponsors a little bit later on. Here's Pat Dillon to lead things off for Flashback here in the top of the third. 4-0 lead over the 45s. Thank you, Josephine. Love you, kid. So Pat Dillon, I want to talk about one of the best young players in the game. You got to start with Pat Dillon. There's a line smash caught by Landwehr for the first out. There aren't many balls that Pat hits that aren't right on the screws. Strong, fast, great attitude, great kid. He's been with his Flash team, I think, when he was 18 or 19 years old. Didn't play all the time, played a lot of the time, and then I think when he got to about age 20, he became a regular, and he hasn't looked back. Another great young outfielder right here, Justin Simkowski. I think that the consensus is that Flashback has the best all-around young outfield in the game with Ryan Rusk, Justin Simkowski, and Daniel Dispenza. Of course, this Tito's 45 teams, you could put in that same conversation with the three players they have out there as well. And there's one of them, Anthony Sanchez, for the second out. So it's great to see a lot of really, really good young players that are really stepping up and becoming some of the better players in the game, because if we want this game to continue to succeed, you need those young players, you need those young 20-some-year-olds to want to play the game. And that's always been the case with softball. You want to keep this game going. You want to keep the major level going, and a lot of the good A teams, you need the young kids that stop playing baseball to start playing in the parks, and then, of course, move up a little bit and play better competition. Here's Ryan Rusk, ground ball off the glove of Robinson, throw to first, not in time. And Ryan Rusk, again, will be on base with an infield single. So, George, it doesn't have to be pretty. Just hit it in the right spot, hit the ball down, you have a chance to get on. I try to stress that to players that I've always coached. When you hit a ground ball, three things have to happen. Player has to catch it, they've got to make a good throw, and then the first baseman's got to catch it on the other end. So there's three possibilities to get on base. So for all you youngsters out there, try to keep the ball out of the air on a lazy fly ball. Line drives, ground balls, you got a good shot. Mysick with a long drive down the left field line, foul. So we have seen a lot of balls get to the fence. I believe the fences are 280 out here in Wheeling at Heritage Park. Of course, they have the regular baseball fence, and now we have the temporary fences up for all the fields here. But we've seen multiple balls hit off the fence. I believe Keith Anderson of the 45s hit one out earlier in the series. So the ball has been traveling. Sometimes you get out on a hot, humid, sticky weekend and the ball doesn't travel, but that has not been the case this weekend. There have been a lot of extra base hits. And Mysick with a fly ball to center, and that'll do it for Flashback here in the top of the third. So 4-0, Tito's 45. Let's see if that 0 in the top of the first can spur on the 45s here to get off the schneid here and score a run. So again, Flashback needs to beat Tito's 45s twice in order to take home the first place hardware. As we get up close and personal. course, this Flashback team, again, they won the SSA Major National Championship back in 2019 in Marshalltown. 45s looking for their first national championship game victory since 2017. So that might be a bit of a surprise to a lot of you viewers out there as you take a look at the infield of Flashback huddling up here. So it's been 4 years since the 45s have taken home the ring as Keith Anderson steps in. Keith has, up until this point, I believe, played with a couple of Iowa teams, he's in Kenosha, I believe, where he makes his home. Reached out to Israel Sanchez early on this season and wanted to know if there was a spot. And when you take a look at Keith and you see the way he could hit the ball, you understand why he was given a spot by Coach Sanchez. So getting back to the 45s and not winning a championship since 2017, a national championship. Again, as Anderson there lines a single, and actually a double. It's going to be a double, leg double for Anderson. Wow. Showing some good speed there. Looked like a routine single to center, and Anderson with a leg double. Let's see if that gets the 45s a little riled up. The 45s have won so many tournaments, George, throughout Chicagoland in the past 4 years. Again, some people would be like, wow, it's been a while since the 45s won the national championship here. Here's Danny Villarreal. Danny's had a nice day today, and he continues to stay hot. That's his ball. Little cut ball as Anderson slides into third safely. So Danny continues to stay hot with the cut. And here's Jeff Thielson, who's had another good afternoon as well. He's really hit the ball. He's painted the right field line a couple of times. He's hit the ball up the middle. Jeff, also known as Hooch, around softball. Jeff, relatively new to the major scene, played with a team called Top Fleet for a few years. I believe he was with the Bullfrogs. I want to say he came over last year to the 45s late in the year. Could have possibly played the whole year with them. I don't quite remember, but I know that he played in the Nationals with the 45s last year. And Hooch with a base hit down the right field line. Runners will be at first and third as the 45s get on the board as Anderson scores after the leadoff hustle double. And here's Adam Haas. 4-1, Tito's 45s, trailing by 3 here in the bottom of the third. Top of the order is looming now, so the 45s looking to get back to even here. Again, they only need to win this one game to bring home the championship. As Hernandez gets out in front with the strike. Line drive, base it up the middle, off the fingers of Meyer. And Thielson will go all the way to third base. So Tito's 45s playing first to third here as they have now cut the lead to 4-2. Nobody out, and here's Anthony Sanchez. So you'll see that hole hit more with the gloves than any other hole, because a lot of times guys who like to cut the ball down in the hole, and with the glove it kind of negates that. So you'll see a lot of batters hit that hole past the pitcher. Long drive into right, that'll get one run in, and that'll move Haas up to second. So that's a good piece of hitting there for Anthony Sanchez, as it's now a one-run game, 4-3 Flashback with one out here in the bottom of the third. Getting back to that at-bat by Sanchez, very productive out. Drives in the run from third, moves the runner up from first to second, and now you've got Nate Mercado and Billy Smith with the chance to drive in that run to get them back to even.
Come on, Nate.
There's Nate Mercado. And Nate with the ground ball up the middle. And that's going to tie up the ball game. So just like that, we just talked about the 45s with the firepower to get back in the game quickly, and they have done just that. So a couple of hits from their bottom of the order. A very productive out by their leadoff man, and Nate with the tying RBI. And now the 45s are in business. Tie ball game, bottom of the third. And Billy Smith will be at the plate. Oh, Joe Manza asking the 45s players to get back in the dugout. You'd hate to see a play affected by an overthrow hitting a player standing outside the dugout or a bat. So Joe doing a nice job taking charge there. Here's Billy Smith. Tries to drive one. Foul ball down the left field line, and that will fall harmlessly out of play. So, of course, Alex Smith, the younger brother of Billy Smith, who has been on this 45 squad for many, many years. Not playing much softball this year. So Billy trying to take up the slack for the entire Smith family and has done a great job. As you see, Bobby Russ Sr., who is part of the Flashback Brain Trust, and, of course, the father of Ryan Russ, the left fielder, and William Russ, who is probably the greatest softball fan out here and also likes to keep score, likes to be the one of the top rah-rah guys in the dugout for Flashback. And Billy Smith with a knuckleball line drive caught by Ryan Russ for the second out. So here's John Robinson with 2 outs, man on first. Game tied at 4, bottom of the third. Glad you're joining us live for the SSA Gold Rush Gaming National Championship Series. This is the championship game, of course. A game that a lot of people were worried about happening this year, again with unfortunately the pandemic still upon us, but we've been able to weather that storm like we did last year, and we have been rewarded with a terrific tournament thus far. A lot of great comebacks, as I mentioned earlier, some really, really strong hitting, great weather, and a pretty good crowd throughout the entire weekend. In fact, you see the crowd down the left field line, crowds behind home plate here, as George Bliss brings you the sights of Heritage Park. So 4-4, heading into the top of the fourth. As Ron Kubicki, assistant coach for Tito's 45s, has just informed me that Steve Batnich is now on the mound. So Steve Batnich will be in Keith Anderson's spot as John Robinson stays in the game to catch. So a lot of times you'll see some maneuvering, especially from these major teams where they'll utilize their bench, because a lot of these teams are 13, 14 players strong, and you hate to have a player just on the bench and not see time in a big game. Here's Ralphie Lawrence. I want to say hi to Luke Lawrence, who I'm sure is watching this game, watching his father. Luke playing college baseball after a terrific collegiate or high school career at Brother Rice High School, both baseball and hockey. There's ground ball up the middle. Nice play by Landwehr over to first for the out. So I can tell you one thing, George, when Luke Lawrence, when his baseball career wraps up, he's going to be another really good young 16-inch softball player. I've seen him play a couple times, and he could play.
Let's brag a little bit about your son, Marty Dozen Jr., who had a terrific year and is already up at the major level, one of the better players.
Certainly has, and it was a real pleasure being able to watch him day in and day out, really continue to get better each and every day. But the most proud thing I am of him, George, is the fact that he loves the game. He loves the game, and he respects the game. And he's a good kid, and I think that people have gotten to know him, and they see that, and they know that he's going to be around for a long time, and hopefully I'll be around to watch. Ground ball to second, and Meyer is thrown out. So the momentum now definitely on the side of the Tito's 45s after putting up a 4 spot there in the bottom of the third. Now we have a pinch hitter for Flashback. That's Tony Laporte. He's going to pinch hit for Jeff Hernandez. So now Tony looking to get on and get back to the top of the order. Oh, Steve Batnich, who has been one of the best pitchers in the game for well over a decade. Ground ball up the middle, and Landwehr's terrific glove over there. Makes that play look easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Flashback in their half of the fourth. We're all tied at 4-4s on the scoreboard as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Glad you're joining us. Matt Dosen along with George Bliss live here, Heritage Park in Wheeling for our 2021 SSA Gold Rush Gaming National Championship Series. Tito's 45s undefeated, looking for just one little win here to bring home the first place trophy. Flashback playing their 6th game of the afternoon. Just a wonderful, wonderful effort. And if they were able to pull this off, that would be a pretty epic occurrence. You see Mark Holstein. Marky, of course, a long-time 45 in the 2000s, went over to Windy City. Played with Jinx for a couple years, and then Windy City, and then came back here to the 45s. As Jack Landwehr is going to step in and lead things off. It'll be Landwehr, Holstein, and Chris Lentine in the bottom of the fourth. Oh, the dugout's definitely a difference between the two. It was all Flashback, the first 3, and now it's been the 45s really making the noise. I think the 45s feel like they're on the verge of taking the lead. We'll see what happens here. There's a line drive caught by Meyer for the first out. So, again, that's a routine play with the glove. And we're used to playing with no gloves throughout the season. And that's a much more difficult play with no gloves because that ball was knuckling, and that definitely would not have been a routine play. Here's Mark Holstein. Mark, also a longtime wrestling coach at Marmion. He teacher at Sycamore, wrestling coach at Marmion. Mark definitely was the most prolific home run hitter in the game for about 15 years. And like everybody else, age caught up to him a little bit in terms of the power, but still a great, great hitter. And has really become a very smart hitter. Uses the whole field. There's a line drive to center, and that'll be an easy play for Simkowski. So 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the fourth. This is a big inning for Flashback. Momentum clearly was on the side of the 45s team coming in, but Hernandez able to retire the first 2 players. Here's Chris Lentine. Chris, another terrific young player. Loves the game, plays hard. Always great attendance for the Lentine family. They don't miss too many games. Line drive caught by Hernandez for the final out. So now, momentum a little bit back on the Flashback side. After it was a 1-2-3 inning for the 45s. Let's see if they could take that into the batter's box. Top half of the fifth coming up. 4-4 is our score. Glad you're joining us. Let's run down a few more of our sponsors. We've got Bernie's Tap and Grill, Accurate Concrete, RH Home Improvement, Seal Right Asphalt, Room for Kids, Proline Door Systems, Rieg Plumbing, Colgan and Power PC, Bob Backus, Keller Williams, Premier Properties, More Than Dogs, Lawler's Bar, of course, thanks to Shane Lawler and Denny Lawler, who are a part of his Flashback team, Dockers in Fox Lake, Sherman Williams in Westchester, McGaffer's Saloon, Pat Malone, my man Pat. Thanks, Pat, for all you do for the game, the way you take care of all of our teams. Taverna on Division, Village Tavern and Grill in Carroll Stream, Mago's Styling Cave, Joel Alejandro. Joel was out with Moneyline. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it, buddy. Glad you were out with us this weekend. And Paul Wukash, Quality Painting and Wallpapering. Here's Danny Dispenza. Ground ball is short, and that'll be routine for Nate Mercado. Dispenza not happy with that at bat.
Nope.
So here's John Zawaski, and of course he's known by Zo by most of us here playing the game of softball. Well, I remember when I first saw Zo playing, I could not believe how fast he was for being a bigger guy. Super athletic, and one of those rare right-handed batter, left-handed throwers that you'll see. Tried to chop that one, and Thielson will, low throw, gets away from Haas, and Zawaski will make his way to second. He's going to go all the way to third, and he will make it. Oh, a tough slide as he rolls into third, and looks like Zawaski's hurt. Boy, he stumbled there. And I'm not sure if he banged his knee or what happened, but he is down. We hope it's not a pulled muscle, but he hit the ground hard. A terrific hustle play by Zawaski as that throw got away. It looks like he might be grabbing his left ankle. He definitely was trying to slide, and maybe his spike got caught in the turf. It looks like he's in definitely a bit of some pain there. So he might have been caught between either trying to slide feet first or dive head first, and a spike got caught, and it looks like he's going to have to come out of the game. Oh, boy. Well, let's just hope it's
that's a tough one.
A little bit of a sprained ankle, and he's able to walk that off. But definitely a hustle play by Zo, and it's a big play now because now you've got one out with a man on third in the top of the fifth, and we'll see what Gibbs and Bobby Russ Sr. will do in terms of replacing John Zawaski. George Bliss, it's been a great game, entertaining game. Flashback jumped out to a 4-0 lead. And Tito's 45s now have tied it. And with a chance to, Flashback with a chance to go ahead here in the top of the fifth. Glad you're joining us here at Heritage Park in beautiful Wheeling. A beautiful night. Sun setting, 70 degrees, no breeze. You can't ask for better conditions. You're on a turf field. You got a good crowd. If you want to take a look to the other side of the field, too, we got fans sitting all over. We've got the great Joe Polito here, one of the best fans in softball, as they're still tending to John Zawaski there. But you look at this field. Great job by our staff putting up some of the signs of some of our sponsors in the outfield. And it's been a complete success this entire weekend. As it looks like Chris Stuhmiller is going to run for John Zawaski at third. Scotty Herdecki. So his job here is to make sure you get the run. But being the number 3 hitter and being a power hitter, you don't want Scotty to give himself up with just trying to hit a fly ball. You really want him to try to go to the outfield and try to hit a gap or a humpback liner. But you definitely want him to get the ball to the outfield.
20 is in.
Chris Stuhmiller's in. You don't want Scotty giving himself up here in the 5th inning, especially when you're the visitors. So let's see if Scotty tries to drive a gap. We've seen a few guys try to just hit the ball to the right side to get in a run, and they've popped up to second or lined out to second. You don't want that to happen here. You want him to try to go out to the outfield, but for a hit. And there's a long fly. Kind of looks like he got under it there. I don't think he was trying to do that. He was a little upset with himself. Gets the run in, and Flashback is now up 5-4, but you could tell that he was not trying to give himself up there. He was trying for something a little bit bigger, maybe a double or possibly trying to take it out of here. And Scotty does have the power to drive the ball to this 280 fence. And there's another batter that has that power. It's Pat Dillon. So again, the hustle play by John Zawaski gets Flashback a run, and that's going to be trouble. That's going to be a double, as the outfield has to play deep for Pat Dillon. And as soon as that ball left his bat, you knew it was going to be a stand-up double. So it's a big at-bat here for Justin Simkowski. 2 outs. Flashback looking to pad their 1-run lead here in the top of the 5th. Again, you got to love the fighting spirit of this Flashback team playing their 6th game. And a base up the middle. That'll drive in another run. It's now 6-4 Flashback. So a couple of big 2-out hits there by Dillon and Simkowski. And a little bit of a breathing room now for Flashback. Here's Ryan Russ. Ryan made a great play off against Dynasty. I believe it was Joey Knops who had a line drive down a left field line with a couple of men on when Dynasty was down, I think 3 or 4. That probably would have drove in 2. Big play at that point. So Ryan with a couple of infield hits so far in this game, and Ryan's really become a terrific hitter. Has learned to use all the fields. So he's really become a tough out. 3 balls and a strike here. And it's ball 4. So that puts another runner in scoring position. And we'll bring up Anthony Misek, a.k.a. Noach. Noach, another Mount Carmel guy. Quite a few Mount Carmel players playing this great game of softball. Of course, Anthony Scarlata. Terrific player with signature. Also a Mount Carmel guy. And Bo Filkins, who's in the dugout for Tito's 45s. Terrific player and a Mount Carmel alum. Fly ball, or ground ball, it's gonna be foul. Foul ball, foul ball, foul ball. It's a foul ball, foul ball. So it didn't miss by much, but it was a foul ball. Called by home plate umpire Joe Manza. So now there's some debate on whether the count is 1-2 or 2-2. So it's 2-2 with 2 outs. Top of the 5th. 6-4 Flashback and a line drive, base hit into the gap. That's going to score 2 more. So Anthony Misek with a huge 2-run double and a big 2-out rally here for Flashback. Back to a 4-run lead. So this Flashback team is definitely got the momentum back on their side. That 4th inning could be the difference in this one. Flashback went 1-2-3. And then the 45s went 1-2-3. And now Flashback with a 4 spot here in the 5th. As you see, William Russ, the pinch runner at second base with 2 outs. Ground ball to second. And that will do it for Flashback, but not before they score 4 to get their 4-1 lead back here. So let's see if the 45s have another rally in them. Last time they were down 4-0. Took them a few innings to get going, but they scored 4 runs. So again, if you're Flashback, you can't rest, George. You can't sit back and say, okay, we got 4 more, this game's over, because you know that they've got the bats in the other dugout to come back and tie it up quickly.
I'm wondering if Israel Sanchez will take a swing. You know, this guy's one of the best ever, and he's on the bench. Just think of that, Israel Sanchez on the bench.
Well, I think Israel definitely would not be shy of taking it at bat, but he's been battling some sciatica the last week or two, so I don't think he'll be swinging a bat in this tournament. So it's going to be up to the guys that he's got. And again, last time they scored 4 runs in the inning, the rally was started by this man that's going to be leading things off, Keith Anderson, who will re-enter the game for Steve Batnich. So, of course, Keith has home run power. That's really not what you're looking for here. You're looking for a single or, again, maybe a double in the gap to get things going. Glad you're joining us for our championship game between Tito's 45s and Flashback. 8-4 is our score. Flashback on top. Matt Dosen along with George Bliss live in your SSA broadcast. There's a long drive into left, deep. Ryan Russ has some room, and he makes the catch just shy of the fence. So a long ride, but a long out.
Stay with it, boys. Come on.
Hey, here we go, Danny. Let's go. Come on, 8-5. Let's go.
Danny Villarreal. Let's see if Danny stays with his cut ball. When he gets that thing going, it's tough to stop. It's like a machine. It's like the same spot every time. Danny's got a little pop, so you can't cheat him all that much. Let's see if he stays with that ball. And I think Jeff Hernandez knows that that's his ball. He's going to try to stay at that 6-foot arc. Again, it's 6 to 12 is the arc limit. As Danny goes into left center this time, and it'll be caught by Simkowski. And we've seen him make a number of those sliding catches into shallow left field the last couple of games. Great jump. You cannot put a price on speed, and that's what Flashback has in the outfield. And they also have outfielders who get great jumps. One thing to have speed, it's another thing to get great jumps and have great anticipation in the outfield. 2 outs, nobody on. And here's Hooch. Hooch has had a really, really good afternoon. Last time down the right field line. This time he hits one into the left, and that'll be a can of corn for Ryan Russ. So a big hold there as 45s go 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. So we head into the 6th, 8-4 Flashback. Again, Flashback has to win twice to win the championship. 45s are undefeated. As Steve Batnich will re-enter, and that'll make Keith Anderson ineligible to come back in the game. You could be re-entered once, and the second time you have to come out of the game. So he will not be able to bat if his spot comes up. It'll have to be somebody else on the bench. So, again, congratulations to Chicago Dynasty for their 3rd place finish. High Y for their 4th place finish. Rack City and Smackout tied for 5th. Nice little run by Smackout. So congratulations and thanks to all the teams and players that participated. As Meyer hits a line drive caught by Batnich. Big thanks to all the fans who have come out to watch, all the fans who have watched the live stream all year that Gio brings you in all the big tournaments and some big league play. Gio, if people realize the time and effort that Gio and Patty Caputo put into SSA organization and all that they do, you would be just amazed. There's another base hit by Jeff Hernandez. And again, I mentioned that Jeff.
How many hits does this guy have?
That's 2 in this game. He's 2 for 2 in this game, but
8 hits tonight.
He has definitely become a better hitter as he's gotten older, and that's not uncommon in softball. Sometimes you'll see players in their 40s or even in their 50s become better hitters because they're smarter, they're more tolerant, they don't get as upset when they make an out, and they kind of know their limitations when they get to that age, so they don't try to do things that they're not capable of doing. They'll punch the ball, they'll slap the ball, they'll cut the ball, and they'll take what the defense gives. So sometimes it takes others longer, but Jeff definitely is an example of somebody who's become a better hitter as he's gotten older and gotten more experience. Here's Dan Dispenza, and he smokes a ball into right. That's going to be a base hit and almost bounces over the head of Billy Smith.
That's the turf they're talking about.
We've seen a few times line drives take that one bounce and whoop, go right over the outfielder's head, and it turns a single into a home run. So here's Chris Stuhmiller, who came into the game for John Zawaski, and we got to look back right now. That's the turning point of this game. That hustle play by John Zawaski hit a ground ball. The throw got away from Haas at first base, and Zawaski hustled all the way into third. He started his slide. His spike got caught. He turned his ankle, but was safe at third. Flashback got that run in, and then they scored 3 after that with 3 consecutive hits. So that plays may go down as the play of the game if Flashback wins here.
I think so.
So Flashback not settling here. They have runners at first and second with no outs. Or one out, excuse me. And here's Chris Stuemiller. And Stu with the base hit in the left. And that will move everybody up 60 feet. So now bases loaded with one out. So again, these top teams always have a bench where they could bring 2, 3, 4 players in that have great experience, that aren't going to buckle under the pressure, that have been in big situations, and more times than not, they'll come through with a big pinch hit. And there you saw Chris Stuemiller.
What will he do here, Matt?
I think this time he's going to give himself up. Or I think that would be his mindset here in the 6th inning up 4. Yeah, this is a long fly ball to left. That'll get the run. That's definitely a smart veteran, unselfish play as Hernandez comes in with the 9th run of the game for Flashback. So definitely a job well done there by Scotty Herdecki as he is greeted by Jeff Hernandez and the rest of the gang because they know he gave himself up there, and that's the smart play. Just get the ball out there. Hernandez does not run well, so he needed a long fly ball, and that's exactly what Scotty Herdecki did. So now, with Pat Dillon up, and Pat's been on fire all day long, trying to add to the 5-run lead. So we are trending towards an if game here as Dillon hits a long fly ball into center. Lentine will track that down to end the inning. So now a 5-run lead for Flashback as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Well, George, let's see. Let's see if Tito 45s have one more push in them in this game.
Well, you know they can do it. For all of our fans watching out of town, the 45s have had the best record in softball the last 10 years, particularly No Glove Nationals, Forest Park. I think maybe they won 8 or 9 of them. I mean, they got it all. It started way back by a guy named Tom Lyons. He was an alderman in the 45th Ward, by the way, historically speaking. Then the 45s, then Bob Rasha, and now Israel Sanchez. So they've been around, and they've been good for a long time. One of my favorite players going back in the 45s, Mark Forgetto, short center.
Saw Mark
Great
out here
defense.
yesterday.
Yeah. A lot of very good players. Ricky Gancar's number 88.
Ricky Gankar is arguably the best hitting pitcher of all time
So
in
they've
the
got
softball.
some good ones, Matt.
So Adam Haas will lead things off, and then it will be back to the top of the order for the 45s. 9-4 is our score. Glad you're joining us on our SSA broadcast. We're live here, Heritage Park in Wheeling, Illinois, for our 2021 SSA Gold Rush Gaming National Championship game. Haas had a base hit his last time up, drove in a run. Again, the 45 scored all their runs in the 4th inning. There's a ground ball right to Meyer. He'll throw out Haas for the first out.
Come on, Aiden. All the way back to him. Let's go. Hey, keep leading us, Aiden.
So Anthony Sanchez played baseball at Illinois State University, was a catcher.
Really?
Hey, let's single. Let's go, Anthony. Let's single. Come on, Aiden, pick me up. Let's go, Tom. Lead us here. Come on.
Of course, his father played professional baseball in the big leagues with the Kansas City Royals. There's a fly ball on the left, and that'll be tracked down by Ryan Russ. So 2 quick outs here for the 45s in the 6th. 9-4 is our score. Flashback will have to win 2 to take home the championship trophy. Of course, again, this is their. I know I've been harping on it, but this is their 6th game of the day, and they seem fresh.
I'm tired.
I don't see them looking very tired at the moment. There's Nate Mercado, ground ball right to Herdecki, throws to first, and that'll do it. So 1, 2, 3 again for the Tito's 45s. After 6 innings of play, it's 9-4 Flashback. As you take a look at the beautiful panoramic view of our park here, as George mentioned, all turf field. A little different than our Class A venue in Carroll Stream at McCaslin Park, where it's the turf infield and the grass outfield. And a couple years ago, in 2018, we were out here, we had a lot of rain. In fact, we had some prolific rain and lightning and thunder that made us have a couple of delays, but just a few sprinkles yesterday and maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles on Friday. But that's been it. Other than that, it's been a great weather weekend. No humidity. Today was absolutely perfect for softball, and probably one of the reasons why Flashback is still looking pretty fresh. A couple weeks ago when we were in Carroll Stream, it was hot, humid, and it would have been tough to play 6 or 7 games on that day as Simkowski lines out to Badnich. So here's Ryan Rusk. He's been on base all 3 times in this game. Of course, Ryan started his playing at a big level with Traffic, and then came over to Flashback to join his dad, and has not slowed down. Has really, really improved each and every year. He came into this game as a great defensive player, and now he's become a well above average and, in fact, very, very good hitter. So 2 quick outs here in the top of the 7th, 9-4 Flashback. Here's Anthony Mysek, who had a big 2-run double his last time up, and lines another smash for another single. So a 2-out hit. And here's Ralphie Lawrence. Ralphie, one of the most clutch performers in his career. He's got a lot of big hits in big national championship games.
MVP at Marshalltown.
MVP in Marshall. I believe he shared that with, maybe it was Justin Simkowski, I believe, a couple years ago. There you saw the little dipsy-do with Steve Badnich, one of his patented 2-handed deliveries. As Ralphie lines a shot, base hit. Mysek will scamper all the way to third base, and the throw gets away. So Lawrence will move up to second. So it'll be second and third with 2 outs. So Flashback has staged a few 2-out rallies here. Let's see if they could pad their lead. It's 9-4. And Mike Meyer. Interesting. Mike started his career with Flashback, probably about a decade ago, as he hits a ground ball, and Mercado will throw him out. But Meyer was a utility player back 10 years ago. Stuck it out. Was asked by a lot of teams to become a starter, stuck it out, and then became a starter himself, and has been a big key player for Flashback throughout the years. So this is it. Do or die for Flashback in this one. Chasing 5 runs here in the bottom of the 7th. Israel Sanchez. You just wonder if that Forest Park double loss is looming in their minds. It's human nature to probably have that in the back of their minds, losing 2 games after winning the championship bracket. But we'll see. We will see. We will be here if there is a game 2, right in the same spot. So it'll be the heart of the order for the 45s. Billy Smith, John Robinson, and Jack Landwehr. So you don't want to press here if you're the 45. You just want to get a single, move the line up, as Smith lines out to Stu Miller at first base.
He's in for Zoe, huh?
So I believe that's 9 or 10 in a row set down by Hernandez here. So if you're just joining us, Flashback jumped out to a 4-0 lead. Tito's 45's tied at 4-4. And then Flashback with a big inning with another 4 spot of their own to take an 8-4 lead. They added another run in the 6th to make it 9-4. 1 out, bottom of the 7th.
Here we go.
Okay, Rob.
Line drive off the glove to Meyer, and J-Rob will beat that one out. So that ball may have dipped a little bit on Ralph Lawrence. It looked like he didn't have a clear view of it off the tip of his glove, and a little bit of life here for 45s. They're going to need 5 or 6 more hits, though, to get back in it. Bottom of the 7th, 1 out. 5-run lead for Flashback. Landwehr with a liner to center, and that's the 2nd out. So here's Mark Holstein, the last hope for the 45s. So if you're the 45s, George, you want to get a couple of hits here. Just maybe make some noise. Of course, you'd love to have 5, 6, 7 hits in a row, but you want to do a little something here to get you on track. There's a little floater in the right, and caught by Dispenza to end the inning and the game. So Flashback with their 6th win of today, 6 consecutive wins. We're going to go to an if game here at Heritage Park. We'll be back with that one shortly, so don't go away. We'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes or so. Stay tuned.